I'm still shooting, actually.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you're finishing? Shock, we're all a little bit
I am.
surprised. Let me put that there.
Yes, I am finishing.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that?
Mixed feelings. It's
Yeah.
at times I question if this is the right thing.
I'm not surprised.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of positives about the job. A
Yeah, of
lot.
course.
I mean, a lot more than negatives. But I just I don't know. I've been feeling, for the last year or so that it's
Yeah.
time to switch it up, and I feel if I have that urge and I have to trust my instincts, I have pretty good instincts, and of course we'll see how I am in a year from now. But no, seriously, I think it's and the way it's my exit is happening, because I'm not killing me off.
Right.
It's
Well, that's a good sign, isn't it?
yeah, it's. I've been told that that we do write an episode or two in the future that you find appealing. Would you be interested in coming back? I said, sure, if the situation is appealing to me. But right now, I guess feel the need to do some other things.
Well, you must know your character so well by now. In a way, it's going to be quite difficult to leave her behind, isn't it? Do you think?
Well, actually, somebody asked me that last week. I guess it was. They said, "What are you going to miss, Catherine?"
Yeah.
And I hadn't even really thought about that part of it. I obviously I'll miss all the people I work with.
Sure.
And I'll miss the work, and which has been so steady for so long. But yes, I will miss her. Actually, she's I spend a lot of time playing that character, and yeah, I will miss her.
And do you like her? You obviously
I do. Yes, very much so. I mean, she has qualities. Obviously, there's a lot of qualities in me that you can't help but, playing a character for that long,
course.
But she does have qualities that I try to, embrace in my own personal life that I don't naturally that don't naturally come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a lot
Which of those?
more.
Which of those
I
is
think
it?
that Catherine's a lot more sort of confident in a room and direct. I mean, I'm fairly
leadership
direct.
qualities as well, isn't it? I mean, that comes
Yes,
sort of
she
later,
does.
doesn't it?
Definitely has leadership qualities, and I don't necessarily know that that's me. I think I'm a little too shy for that, actually.
And has she? I mean, of course, and she's changed a lot during. Where are we? 12 years, aren't we?
Yeah.
Did you have much influence over the way she developed as a character at all?
I did, actually. In fact, when she the pilot episode, she appeared in the story as Catherine Willow's CSI 3 single mother ex-stripper, and which of course they never really alluded to when we were shooting the pilot. It was just, but it gives you a lot of information about her,
Yeah, of course.
of her career path, trajectory, whatever. And but so we shoot the pilot, no reference to it, whatever, and then we get picked up, and then I meet with the producers to talk about the season, and they wanted to hear my opinion about this and that, whatever. And they came up with this whole other backstory for Catherine, in which they eliminated the ex-stripper part, and her backstory appeared much more kind of generic and kind of bland to me, and I really defended it. I explained, it's not that I want to have like these flashback sequences in which I'm wrapping myself around a pole or whatever. It really informs. It informs a lot about the type of person she is and how far she's come, and how whatever knowledge she gained from that experience of obviously relating to men, she uses in her current profession. When it comes to dealing with suspects and interrogation, definitely.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it seemed to change the whole TV landscape, didn't it, CSI?
It was groundbreaking. Yes.
Back then, that sort of forensic examination of cases didn't really happen, did it? I mean, suddenly detectives would come up with an idea, and that was the killer, wasn't it? But it's hard to believe just how much influence it's had.
It was very groundbreaking at the time, and obviously inspired, well, 2 spin-offs of CSI, but then a lot of other programs, and that it's kind of created a whole genre,
A genre,
of television.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which would be the forensic crime scene procedural, in which
How does that make you feel that all these shows have been spawned by CSI? I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it?
well, yeah, I mean, they always say that imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah.
And some, I have to say, in the beginning, especially with the first one, many of us were reluctant to embrace CSI Miami, but
Really?
yeah, yes, mainly because I guess we felt like we had something very special that was unique to
Yeah,
our
quite.
show, and
So what
I
was
don't
the
know.
issue with Miami? You just felt it was...
that we weren't going to be
Too-
as special as we were just being the one show that was
And yet that hasn't really happened, though, has it? I mean, this has been the purest form, as it were. Do you
yes, yes, that's true.
Because when I started, I picked up a few episodes that I hadn't seen in season 10, and I mean, it is so focused on the science, isn't it? Whereas
yes,
if you catch Miami, it's a little bit more glamorous in that sense, I think, often. I don't know what you feel.
yes, it's what I've caught of it recently, and it's sure. I mean, should probably be quoted. It just doesn't have the quality of CSI. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just shot not as well, and and part of it is because they shoot on digital, and we still shoot on film. We're
right,
actually
I
one of the
didn't
few.
realise.
Was one of the few television series that still shoots on film, and there's a depth and a richness to film that, despite all the cameras that the high-end cameras that they have digitally, I just don't think it has the same amount of
Gosh,
richness.
that's interesting. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, I also think they shoot a lot quicker than we do,
Yeah.
and it might have to do with their cast.
But it
and-
must. But your schedule on the shooting must be pretty intense.
Yeah,
I can
it's-
imagine you're getting what 20? How many episodes to a season? You
we do-
You ramp it up in America. We don't.
I know. Well, that's the other thing too. It's a chunk of your time.
Yeah.
It's
So
10
how
and
much
a
of
half
the year?
months.
That's 10.5 months.
Yeah.
Really. So it is it's a proper job almost.
Yes,
Isn't it?
it is, and that's the other thing. Is it not that you can't do other things. It's just I think it's very difficult for people to want to hire somebody who's already on a series because they don't want to work around somebody's schedule. And usually when you're done with that season, kind of the last place you
You'd
want to
quite-
do is in costume with playing somebody. I mean, that's how I felt the last, unless it's a small thing which I've
Yeah.
done.
I suppose you could do or did you do any stage work?
I not, and that's why
Really?
another reason why I want to,
Really?
kind of be free to. The freedom to be able to pick
Yeah,
and
of
choose
course.
what I want, and even if it is just like I'm actually pretty solid with not working immediately after I finish this because it's been a long run and it's and a great run. Don't get me wrong, but I think I need a little time to kind of step back and assess and
So
determine
what's been the reaction with the other guys? On
the cast,
the cast
or
and
the
the
crew.
crew. I think both really. I mean,
Oh
because
yeah,
they'll
they're
feel
very
a bit-
sad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really. Of course, a day doesn't go by in which someone or several people try to convince me to change my mind. But I think
gosh, they're
that
still trying.
yeah, they're still trying. I think they've now sort of accepted the
Yeah.
fact that
But people have left. It hasn't been completely static, has it? The show. I mean, people have moved on. I mean,
They
Lawrence
have, but
came
not
in, and
many.
I know. I suppose it's true. Yeah.
Billy Peterson left.
Yeah. So that was the big one, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was a big one, yes. And then Lawrence left, but not on his own. He really wanted to come back. They couldn't.
Did he really? Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I guess CBS. He and CBS couldn't come to an agreement.
How have you found playing with Lawrence? I mean, he's quite the actor, isn't he? I think.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good actor. Very powerful. I've always admired him, and I liked working with. I mean, and we got along really well. I loved hanging out with him between takes, and sometimes between takes, sitting in like a darkened hallway and directors' chairs, we'd have some very, very deep discussions
Oh,
about.
really?
Yeah.
What sort of things?
Well, many
Well,
times.
I suppose it does turn you to the
sometimes it
meaning of
would be
life when you're
about-
among that sort of subject.
Well, I remember one time it was. This should. Okay. I was married for many years to a really great guy, Alan Rosenberg, and we just came mutually agreed it was not working out, and we have a wonderful son who's now a production assistant on CSI.
That's great.
And anyway, it was about a year after Alan and I had split. I was, well, maybe it's time for me to start dating, right? And the first person so I started asking mutual friends, if you know anyone. And the first person that I was introduced to, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, was also a guy named Alan.
Really? Well, that's quite convenient in a way.
And I remember talking to Lawrence about it, going, yeah, this guy, and his name is Alan, and they're both Jewish guys from New York, and they're the same age. And there were so many similar qualities.
That's quite spooky,
and
isn't
I
it?
swear to God, it seemed as though when he was talking to me about it, he started channeling Morpheus from The Matrix, in which he said,
Really? Oh, God.
well, the universe is trying to tell you something.
Coffee for me, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. He actually said, the universe is trying to tell you something. I said, really? What? I was like completely, tell me more, Morpheus. Take me to the oracle. he said, it's like two sides of a sword. One side is shiny and new. The other is dull and used.
Right.
And I was like,
So, which
completely
side?
captivated by it. I was like, tell me more. But yeah, he has that deep thing
He
about
can
him.
carry that off, can't he? That's
Completely.
You
Yes. But yeah, I was sorry to see Lawrence go. I really, I enjoyed
But you
it.
had some guest stars as well. I mean, I'd forgotten that Roger Daltrey had been on there. What was he like on there?
He was great.
And of course, the Pete Townsend music.
Yeah,
and everything.
I actually only had, that's great, orange juice. Oh, thank you. I only had one scene with him, but it was a good one, because it was a scene in which he played a master of disguise. Poor guy, he was a real trooper about it, because he had to wear tons and tons of prosthetic makeup, and
He doesn't do a lot of acting, let's face it. So that must have been a little bit less.
Yes, I know, and it was hard. I mean, his face was like raw from all of the latex and whatever.
Oh,
but he was a real trooper
Was he?
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes, he was. And so the scene in which we had together,
thank you.
he was he'd gotten busted and he'd gotten injured in some way, and so he was in a hospital room.
Oh, right.
In bed,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
came in and I give him like the final, like, well, this is why we busted you, because of blah blah blah, right? And so it was fun. It was a fun scene with him. And I told him what I had admired him for so many years. And I even had when I was a kid.
But he didn't do a live version of the theme or anything to.
No, he didn't. But he was the Who, as it turns out, was going to be performing at the Hollywood Bowl like a month or so later.
Yeah.
And he said, well, be sure to, I'd love to see you backstage and this and that. And that was kind of cool.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing is it puts science at the front of a show, doesn't it? Which, again, for a drama, we'd never had.
Yes.
Which is very unusual. And that was interesting what you mentioned on breakfast this morning, that schools had taken it up and were teaching it. When did that happen? Did it happen quite early on in the run? Or?
It did, actually.
Really?
Yes. It was one of those, I don't know if the right term is like gestalt or whatever. There was something happened in which the public just got so enamored with the entertainment, the combination of entertainment and information, and how we made science seem appealing and fun and compelling.
Yeah.
And because I think that they had tried to do forensic shows that featured forensic scientists or criminalists before, and they never took off because it wasn't the right they didn't have the right style in which to deliver the information.
Yeah, but in a whodunit, it's great, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it always amazes me how much energy, well, particularly these shows, get in the plot, and how much you can get into whatever it is, 47 minutes. I mean, it's down to the writing, isn't it? I suppose.
It is down to the writing. The executive producer, the main showrunner, Carol Mendelsohn, has been with the show from the beginning.
Oh right. Gosh.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of it to her because she's obviously has incredible leadership skills and she's got enormous energy and tenacity, and she's makes it happen, and she manages to assemble. We've had a lot of staff changes in the writing staff over the years, but
what's the sort of
she's
size
been the
of
one
the team
steady.
of writers on it? Is it?
I think it's about 8 or 9
Oh,
or
right, so it's
10. I don't even know actually, but yeah, it's a tough show to write. A lot of
bet.
things you have to, a lot of balls you got to juggle all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. You never thought about writing one yourself, or?
No, although some of the actors on our show have. Wally Langham and he and Liz Vassy, who played a character, Wendy Sims. They wrote an episode, 2 episodes, I think, actually. But no, it has never interested me actually, or directing it.
Not at all. No.
Mm-mm. I think because it's such a show that's heavily on a lot of technical things, and there's a lot of short little scenes. If it were more of episodes in which there was maybe more character involvement, or that's more appealing. I think most actors feel confident directing other actors, but they don't necessarily feel as confident about lens size and angles and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever end up going into any schools or anything, talking to students about science?
I did actually.
Did you really?
In fact, when my son was in the 7th grade, like I say, he's 21 now. So it would have been whatever, 2nd or 3rd season, a while back. The woman who was our technical advisor at the time, Liz Devine, and I went to my son's middle school, so like junior high, because they had actually had been teaching for like a science in a forensic way before CSI, and then after CSI took off, then it really went, they went to town, and we actually taught like 5 classes. It was 5 classes of 7th graders,
really?
like one right after another, and of course they all.
What were they asking? What did they ask?
Oh, well, a lot of the boys, well, what if I were to burn off my fingertips? Would I be able to get away with it?
Sure. Yeah, in reality, yes.
But Liz says, but that only makes your fingertips more your fingerprints more unique, because you're the ones with the burned tips. They were really trying to figure out how they can get away with murder. And
that's a bit disturbing, isn't it?
I know.
What school was this?
I know, really? Oh God. But we had brought some, stuff with us, like some fingerprint dust, and of course we all allowed them to get their fingerprints taken, and a few other things we brought that they thought was a lot of fun.
And what about the police? What's the general? I suppose they quite like it because in a way it shows the police solving crime, making a success, doesn't it?
I think overall
it's a bit more problematical for police generally, isn't it?
Well, sometimes the police get upset because they make that the police are kind of the secondary characters, whereas the criminalists are the stars, right?
Yeah, cool.
And I think sometimes they feel like, especially when we're involved in interrogation, that doesn't involve.
Does that happen
forensics.
in reality in the States, that the criminologists do interrogation? Or?
I think it does in if you are bringing in evidence.
I see, right, yeah.
But no, if they're just asking like a basic kind of Q&A and trying to trip somebody up, no. Mm-mm. But we seldom do that. There's always usually a cop in the room with us, or a detective.
But they get nowhere. Well, not nowhere, but rarely.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We're the ones that usually, solve the crime.
And so they did. Have police spoken to you about the series? I mean, and what they think?
You
get letters,
I think for the most part, most of the letters I get go to this company that reads them, and I seldom see them. But in general, I think most part they're pretty happy with the way we portray forensic science.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I suppose, have you finished shooting? Or
No, I finish on December 7th.
Oh, right. Gosh, that's quite soon now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I have one more month.
Yeah. And so you say you're happy not to jump into anything immediately, but you must have already had offers for things, I would imagine, have you?
Well, I'm actually sort of, I'm not going to reveal anything, but I'm have been talking with, a couple of producers about perhaps doing another television series, but it wouldn't be immediately, and I don't want to do something that would be 22 episodes a season.
No.
Because it's too much work. It's too hard.
Exactly.
And
do you get series like that? I mean, I suppose you must get shorter series. I mean,
most cables, there's a lot of programs on cable now and they're all much shorter seasons.
Oh,
anywhere
right.
from
so
like
it's the main
8
networks
episodes.
That do
the 4 major networks, Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC, still do a full season.
Yeah.
Which is 22 episodes, sometimes more. Anyway, but all the other, like, A&E, FX, USA, blah blah blah, they all do less.
But do they right? Yeah.
Usually no more than 13.
Yeah.
A season.
And would you like to move away completely from the police forensic area? Is that all?
Yeah, for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly been good to me because seemed to play a lot of cops and detectives. I mean, my first professional job was actually on a soap opera in which I played a cop.
Gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Just a quick time check for about 5 minutes.
Great. Cheers. And you, I did see a note that you might be thinking about doing some West End work. Is that?
Oh, I'd love to do a play here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, if it was the right production, which it's, the other thing is it's a little bit scary because I haven't been on stage in a long time, and
Gosh, when was the last time?
I'm not even going to tell you. It was so long ago. But it seemed just like yesterday.
College, yes. You did drama at college, didn't you? You could ask your college friends.
I would love to do a play here. It would be, if, like I said, if it was the right, of all the circumstances were right. If it was a play that I really appealed to me, and a character and production and so on.
Yeah. And how will your son feel about you leaving? How's he reacted to it?
About leaving CSI?
Yeah.
He hasn't really talked about it much, actually. I think it'll, because it's kind of, since I've been doing it since he was 9, it's been a big part of his life, major part of his life.
Sort of know you not being in it in a way. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. I don't know. I suppose he has mixed feelings about it as well.
But it must be good for both of you because you could speak in confidence to each other about many things, I would have imagined, during the whole run.
Yeah, yes. Well, because he's not planning on leaving after I leave, unless they decide he's not
that
doing
would be
a proper.
Brutal, wouldn't it? Okay, your mum's gone. You're finished.
So long. Right. No, they wouldn't do that unless he's screwed up, and then in which case, because I had said to the producer before he got the job, I said, please don't take into consideration if he's screwing up. Oh no, don't make no mistake.
Yeah.
He'll be out of here if he's not doing his job.
Yeah.
Because that would be, I wouldn't like that at all.
No, not at all.
That's why we seldom actually see each other much, because he's actually not a set PA. He's a PA in the office.
Oh, right, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so he's, either there or he's off doing deliveries or something like that.
Yeah. And how did it feel? It was so funny when the show was then deemed the biggest show in the world, wasn't it? I mean, what was the sort of reaction among cast and production then? I mean,
do you mean now or
well,
then?
It was back,
initially?
Was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago when it was voted.
Oh, well, that's so funny because we, we're obviously, happy to hear, who wouldn't be, right? But then back in the States, because there's so many television shows, and the way things work there is that, you're hot for a while, and then the next thing comes out, and that becomes hot. So we haven't been hot in a long time, even though the ratings are still really high, and there's it's still of really high quality. We don't get the attention like, say, a show like Mad Men. I don't know if are familiar with that show.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, or Glee.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. If we could just
sure.
have the last
Yeah,
couple of
yeah, we'll make this the last one,
questions,
yeah.
that's great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, so people obviously were delighted with that, but it did seem a bit strange that there was a show could be the biggest show in the world, didn't it, in a way? But
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Especially after all these years.
Yeah, yeah. But is it? Do you catch up with any of British television, any of the forensic shows here that we've had? Things like Waking the Dead was, I don't know, I thought a sincere copy of.
I never. No. I mean, I remember
Mm.
Prime Suspect.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
then, which was great, and she was great, and but I haven't. I mean, I know there's one now that's on that's getting a lot of
No,
attention.
Body Farm, which has been quite good. Where they literally had a farm of dead bodies,
Oh,
which they would
yeah.
use to experiment on to try and prove a crime. So that
Right.
It's
We
favourite.
have those back in the States
Oh,
as
do you?
well.
Oh, right.
Body farms, yeah. We did an episode that was set on a body farm
Yeah.
a long time ago.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I forget the episode. It's the Dominic West. He's in it. Isn't that his name? That
It is,
English
yeah.
actor,
Yeah.
Dominic West, which got good reviews.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Well, good luck with everything. And
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Fine body of work, isn't it? That's the.
Well, it's a long one. That's
It's
for
a
sure.
lot.
I can definitely attest to that.
And we hope to see you on the stage here, I suppose. Maybe probably not a TV series here, but on the stage, you would think.
Definitely,
Maybe next year.
that would be wonderful. Yes.
Right. All right, no, thanks very much. Nice
Yeah.
to meet
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice
Good luck
chatting
with
with you.
Thank you for that, David.
I'm going to take a break.